If you want to learn how to make a passive income inside of crypto without taping your face to a screen or being a day trader all day, then watch this video until the end, because the 5 steps that I'm about to share with you have been able to grow and even replace the incomes of over 200 of my students. So let's dive right in. The first thing that I want you to understand to truly nail this cycle is obviously understanding the cycles. You might already be like, yeah, this is too basic for me. This is not going to allow me to make a passive income. And that's exactly why you're stuck. Because if you look at the Wall Street cheat sheet on the right-hand side here, this shows what the stock markets used to be before they get massively manipulated. There used to be emotions inside of this cycle. This is being referred to as volatility. A lot of people are afraid of this, but in general, you shouldn't be afraid. You should understand that these are the healthy market dynamics that we face. And in the beginning, at the transition into this entire alt cycle that we're facing, there's going to be a lot of disbelief. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, you know, I just compromised my values. I'm kind of done being in this coin. Let me get out. And then by the time these markets really take off at scale, they're completely gone. And so at some point, there's hope again. They buy back higher after shilling their money into any random coin that wasn't even valuable. We go to optimism, we go to belief, we go to thrill, complacency, and even at this time with the euphoria that kicks in at the top of the cycle, a lot of people are just getting too greedy. They don't know how to get out. So essentially what happens, and it's a loop I've seen over and over and over again, is around this belief. People will sell very valuable or shitty assets into oblivion. Then they will buy back higher around the time when belief kicks back in. Then it will stay in the markets until this point. They will finally start making money, and then they will go all the way out. This is a cycle that you just need to understand. The second step of this video is to avoid any of the main coins. You've seen all the Bitcoin hype recently. Come on, guys, we're at 100K. Currently, we're at 99.7. And look, I don't want to be bashing or complaining about like one of the coin seen as the main coin, but despite this being a main coin, there's already trillions of dollars inside of this market cap. This means that if you would like a simple 2x on your money, this would need a lot. And this is essentially what happened. In the last year, all we've seen was 132% price appreciation. This is not a lot. If you went into these markets with about a 10,000, you would have come out with about a 23, which would have put you at a grand total of around $1,000 a month. And that's not a lot of money. That's below the income that you would like to generate inside of crypto. And even if it's within the boundaries of what you kind of like, Bitcoin, in my honest opinion, is not the main technology that we need. And we see it, and it shows, because the Bitcoin dominance currently is around the 53.8, which is signaling that money is flowing into Ethereum. This means that the alt season is kind of around the corner. There was a net inflow of quite some money in the last couple of days inside of the Ethereum ETFs. It was hundreds of millions of dollars that was just pouring into this entire ecosystem. And so one of the main conclusions that I've been able to draw is that you want to steer clear from any inflation. Look, the main asset, which is Bitcoin, that everybody knows, there's updates, and I want to keep this as simple as possible for you guys, but there's updates called native SegWit updates, where if they increase the block limit of Bitcoin, they can increase the inflation. So imagine there's a block limit of 1 megabyte and they increase, and this is actual data, they did this before, they increase it to 1.80. Well, then alongside of that, there will be an inflation that goes along with that. In my honest opinion, it's completely centralized. Many of the nodes inside of this entire ecosystem are inside of the hands of the same venture capitalists. So, and that's something that you just need to be aware of. It's the same here in this case, that you just steer clear from inflation. Now, what is deflation? Deflation is actually a space inside of crypto. We call this space true DeFi or fair crypto, where assets and the supply of these assets are getting scarcer every single day. Essentially, it takes Bitcoin about 40 years to even see a halving, which is where the reward per mined block that a miner creates, or a device in this case creates, get divided by 2. That's the only thing that really increases the scarcity, and it takes 40 years. What if you now take an ecosystem of which the supply is getting scarcer daily? I'm just leaving this here as a thought, because these ideas are really what push you up in a shorter amount of time with way less risk and without eating too much of this market volatility. All of the students that I've been helping inside of the bear market have been massively profitable. You shouldn't believe me. Click the interview from TC that's in the right-hand corner right now and just watch what he is sharing. Look, even if we talk about meme coins, there's a bunch of 35-year-olds that are screaming and shouting about meme coins on Solana. You know the entire hype. They're like, yeah, this is a dog. Okay, it's a dog. So Dogecoin, Department of Government Efficiency, there's some hype around it. I should get in. That's the only utility. That's the only use case, right? It's the same with the Hawk 2 girl. She really spit on that thing. Like you can see it. Here it took a hawk and here it took a 2. If we look at Mark Cuban, he's sitting there, oh yeah, I'll probably invest into this asset. There was money inside of this asset pre-launch. How can you overlook these kind of things? It's the same with Daddy from Andrew Tate. He was launching a coin as well. There is already capital prior to the launch. If you're getting into bigger assets with more market capital as well, like a higher market capitalization, as well as assets that have VC backing before they even launch and they don't start at the price floor, it's like you're opening a door and shouting, please scam me. Like you want to avoid these things at all costs. So what you want to do is you want to go on a mental diet. Now look, a mental diet in general is basically like just not listening to people around you for financial advice. Look, as much as I like your family and your friends in this case, or you like them, you just gotta understand that with the best will of the world, they might want to get you up until a point where you're financially free, but usually these people aren't. They're tied to the mortgage of their home, they have a job they hate, they're always overworked, underpaid, and overtaxed, and in the midst of this all, from a place of survival and emotional decision making, they want to help you, but what they share is not going to help you. It's just going to push you in the same century of mistakes that families make. And I'm not saying that to bash you. I just want to get you out of that cycle. It's same with colleagues. Yeah, have you seen this Hawk 2 girl coin, the daddy coin, all that nonsense? They're talking about it. And it's crazy. Like these things are like mushrooms. They get born today, they die tomorrow. So much hype, but in the grand scheme of it all, not too interesting. And look, it makes Solana quite of a strong chain, but then on the side of that, you just don't want to know how many people and families that are getting ruined. The only thing you see on Twitter is all the success, but they hide from you all the family ruination that's happening here. And that's what I hate. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm sharing this value, to prevent you from getting mistakes like that. Celebs and streamers, look, as much as these celebs online do something, like this girl got famous for spitting. Like, I don't know, but maybe your grandfather or grandmother went to a war, just like mine. She got famous for spitting. Just saying. Same with streamers. Just ignore them. And then, worst thing of all, influencers. Why? I've been an influencer myself as well. The only way I was making money was through AdSense, and mainly through actually shilling things that were getting sent my way. Socks that I was promoting, bank campaigns that I was doing. And while all of that was fun, the reason I stepped away from it is because I hate showing things to others that I have without actually educating them. So I was like, cool, you can keep your products. I don't want to do this. But they make sure that influencers usually are better at generating and getting attention. They're basically a slave of the algorithm, but they don't know how to monetize their audience. And that's one of the things that you have to be very careful about, because in this case, you are the bait for them. They don't know how to make money off of brand deals and off of views. And usually, when we talk about like the entire crypto space, it is so shady. They either get you into an exchange where they get a referral commission. The exchange doesn't give a single F about you, because whether you make money or you lose and your entire family suffers, they make a fee. Even if you lose, by the way. So all of these things are so, it makes me puke. It makes me vomit. I just hate it like crazy. Now look, I don't want to talk about negativity the entire video long, because I know there's a better way out. That's exactly why I'm here. So what you could do, just to give you some actual valid information on the deflationary aspects of crypto, is you could get into either virtual mining or liquidity provision. Virtual mining is similar to you getting a massively expensive ASIC miner to mine some Bitcoins, waste a lot of money and energy and get some money. Virtual mining, all it requires is the GPU of your laptop. It could be as cheap as a $200 to $300 Chromebook, which has the best security on the planet right now, that allows you to make money on demand without overspending on a laptop, and it's essentially like it's your gateway. Look, on that laptop, the way you can make money through just the GPU is, imagine this bucket right here is any amount of budget you invest, whether that's a 5K, whether that's a 10K, it could even just be as little as a 2 to 3K. You shouldn't really have thousands if you just have a couple. So every single time when that water, that liquidity, that money enters the bucket, fractions of that money are getting sent to a thing called a buy and burn. Now, a buy and burn in this case, what that does is it allows a fraction of your money to be used to buy supply off of the markets and to burn it forever. And as shady as that might sound, there's not a single person that gets involved in this process. Why? Because it's done through a smart contract. Smart contracts are created through a code, not a human being. So as soon as the liquidity pools are shaping up, those smart contracts are like a side effect of them getting born. So essentially all this means is that there's certain rules that can be called inside of crypto that allow your money to work harder for you rather than you always working money harder for money. Because you know how that loop works at this point. The more the elites are printing right now, the harder you're going to work just to fill up the debt, just to fill up the government overspending, just to fill up the proxy wars they're creating and all the money laundering stuff they are doing just to claim that they're backing wars. It's all like, it's not just the influencers, it's also the system. So look, what happens in this case is this is a bucket of water, okay? You're getting thirsty. People just need water. And so like what happens is essentially, if there's an abundance of water, nobody tends to drink, but if the last drips of a bottle on earth are there, people tend to get into a survival mode, which allows them to actually make emotional decisions. They buy into certain assets, and as a result, because the scarcity of the asset increases, and thus the supply goes down, the value of what you're holding onto increases. And it doesn't really matter. If people are liquidating their position, buy and burn contracts can simply just buy the price back up. If people enter, buy and burn contracts simply just get filled. So it's a system that is self-sustaining, right? So a lot of people are always saying like, yeah, these crypto guys, you cannot predict the markets. And you're absolutely right. I cannot predict the markets either. All I understand are the cycles and the way these tokenomics can drive up the value of what you hold. And the reason I do so is because it made me multiple millions of dollars, and my students right now are pooping cash as well. And we're just getting started. Another example, since we're talking about pooping here, is toilet paper during the C-19 pandemic. Have you seen how this massive run to the store has influenced the mentality of certain people? They're like, I need to get my hands on toilet paper. Before the pandemic was even a thing, were you so conscious about toilet paper? I think it was even the last thing on your list. You were thinking about the newest iPhone, maybe a new car, maybe some upgrades to the steering wheel, and out of a sudden, toilet paper becomes the holy god. It's because there's less of something with a higher demand, and therefore there's this run for the door. And that's exactly how I'm making so much money right now. The fourth decision, or the fourth step, is making less decisions. Now look, a lot of the decisions we make in life are tied to emotion. Whether you sign the contract for a 9-to-5, whether you sign the contract for a home, it's all driven through emotion. And same in crypto. There's two scenarios that I very holistically believe in. Scenario A is where most people waste money. So I'm just adding waste here. Because people, imagine you have a $10,000 right here. You're just throwing the money around. You're like, hey, I'm going to get into a meme coin. This Andrew Tate just said he has like a daddy coin, and I'm just going to get into it. Why? Because you kind of have certain values that you see. You're like, hey, this guy is actually good in training. He's a great fighter. He's a great speaker. He knows exactly what he says. But that doesn't mean that crypto-wise this is the best decision. And so what happens is people will compromise their values of getting into fair crypto and true DeFi just to chase things that are a pump and dump scheme in the first place. They would rather have get-rich-quick schemes than having a sustainable wealth creation vehicle like the DeFi passive income method that I'm sharing with over 200 people right now. And so they get their money into meme coins. As a result, they're like, hey, I've seen this Hulk 2 news. It just pulled down to zero. Let me get out. So they start being fancy. They start trading. They're like, I want to get out. So what happens is they get to Uniswap. They want to get rid of their asset. Slippage kicks in, which is like a price difference from getting from asset A to asset B. Price difference kicks in. So like maybe they had like a 5,000 euro left. Now, if they're lucky, now they're going from a 5,000 into asset B. They eat about $100 to $200 of slippage, if not more. So they get into a coin. They get emotional again because disbelief kicks in. So again, they eat the same level of slippage. They start being fancy. And out of a sudden, you're just like anybody else. The common mediocrity, being average stamp on the top of your face here. And I'm not saying that to bash you. You might feel completely aligned with what I'm sharing right here, but this is exactly why people lose money. You can have the exact wealth creation vehicles that have made me over 7 figures, but if you're not willing to show up and take action and be accountable, or even not compromise your values for quick gains, then in that case, well, what are you even doing inside of crypto? The 10 grand is at a point where it's $2,400, and by the time the billboards are out and the media is promoting crypto again, you just buy back higher. Such a cycle that I've seen over and over and over again. And then people look at people like me and they're like, yeah, he's a scam. He's this, he's that, he's blah, blah, blah. The only reason I made so much money whilst most people didn't do that is because I never compromised my values. I got into B, where I figured out assets that are deflationary and assets that are long lasting, that don't rely on luck, but rely on logic, where you could be investing at $10,000. You could be looking at mining, LP or holding, and then that could get you an easy $50,000 to $100,000. Why? Because the supply is getting scarcer every single day. And that rings a bell because we have been talking about like virtual mining, and LP was in that list as well, but LP is generally just liquidity provision. If you are able to grow and even replace your income right now, you get to a point where you can have a use case for general buyers and sellers inside of crypto. If your $10,000 became a $50,000, well, you can help those people that are very impulsive in getting into assets, right? So what happens is this. Meme coins are usually garbage, but if you figure out mature projects that have more market liquidity, that means they're getting stronger. Well, now you can be providing liquidity, which will allow others that are maybe impulsive or that need a way out to buy and sell to get in and out of these markets without having too much slippage, without eating too much of a price difference. So the more money you can provide to the markets, the more you will be able to allow these people to get in and out of them without them taking too much of a hit. So there's a bright side in crypto, and in the midst of doing this, Uniswap will actually reward you for doing so. They will give you anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 or even more, like myself, where you are all you're doing is allowing the characteristics of your growth, not compromising your values, leading to growth in your net worth, and using that growth, using that money that you created, providing that liquidity to the markets and allowing others to buy and sell. For that, you create a fee. It's insane. I have clients like Peter. Peter is a Dutch guy. He's a sales guy in a paint business. He's making $7,000 with us right now through only LP. And there's so much more ways to do this, right? But like the only reason inside of the thing I run and inside of the method that I've created, the only reason there's people, over 200 people at this point, that are extending for 4 years straight, the only reason they do so is because they need the access to what I know. Crypto is consistently changing, and all that you need is the right knowledge and the right guidance at the right time. And that's exactly what the 5th step is, obviously, which is to get guidance. Because similar to snake.io, how you have these tiny snakes that are looking at the big snakes and they're like, I want to be this big snake one day. These guys are doing the exact same stuff that I just talked about. Eating slippage, getting from thing to thing, day trading their life away, just to land into the highest tax brackets and have the lowest net worth ever. All they have is a fancy H&M suit and a small bank account. Sorry if I pissed you off there, but it's the reality. So, and if there's exceptional realities for certain people, but then again, the thing is, usually it's not the best direction. And the way to become this big snake over there is by really allowing yourself to extend your mind on things that are possible. Rather than having the jealousy for people that actually made it, you can actually learn from them and apply their methods and vehicles for your wealth creation. And that's exactly what I did. And look, this mastermind at this point, the method that I created is way much more than just myself. It all started with my mind having a couple of ideas, developing certain strategies that allowed me to make millions of dollars, sharing that exact knowledge and clues of success with a group of over 200 people. And by now, this mastermind is way more than just me. And the reason it's so successful is because it's working, it's proven, it's sustaining on fair and true values. And there's a lot of people besides myself that are educating the group. So look, if you are willing to apply these 5 steps on your own right now, you're like, hey, this video was super valuable. Now hit that subscribe button right now, hit the like button, and maybe just check some of my other videos because there's a lot of interesting, different kind of things that I cover on here with the goal of educating someone on this planet today. If I did that, I'm massively grateful. And if you want to get more hands-on guidance or even see how and if we could create a custom roadmap for you to crush this current ongoing cycle, then simply go down below this video and click on the link to book a 20-minute demo session. Inside of that session, we'll have a very laid-back, relaxed conversation with either myself or my team to see where you're at, how and if we could help you and give you a tailored strategy. Just a very laid-back session. It's not a sales session. It's It's not anything at all. It's just an exploration to see if this is even aligned with your needs in the first place. And if it's aligned, if you're lucky, there could even be an invitation at the end to have a more deep dive conversation on what the exact steps could be for you and how and if we could help you in a personal matter. Crush this cycle. Don't be stupid. Take some notes, and I see you in the next video. Take care.